Today, we gather not just to celebrate, but to reflect, to honor, and to be inspired by one of the most profound human journeys ever known, the journey of marriage. It is a voyage that begins with a promise, a quiet exchange of words, vows whispered or boldly spoken, sometimes through tears, sometimes with laughter, but always from the heart. From that moment onward, every step is a shared one. Every success, every stumble, every celebration, every sorrow, shared. So today, we speak of celebrating milestones together, not merely marking the passage of time, but truly honoring what it means to live and grow together in marriage. The power of shared journeys. Let me begin by saying this: marriage is not a destination. It is a living, breathing journey. A journey filled with hills and valleys, with morning coffees and late-night talks, with loud arguments and even louder forgiveness, with silence that speaks volumes and laughter that melts the hardest days. And on this journey, milestones are more than just markers of time. They are living testaments to perseverance. They are trophies of battles fought not against each other, but for each other. Each anniversary, each shared triumph, each healed wound, each child raised, each home built, whether it be physical or emotional, is a milestone worthy of celebration. What milestones mean in marriage? We often think of milestones as the obvious ones: the first year, the 5th, the 10th, the golden 50th. And yes, those are worthy of celebration. But let us not forget the quiet, personal milestones, the ones only the two of you know. The first time you got through a fight without walking away. The first time you faced uncertainty together and found certainty in each other. The first time you said, "I forgive you," and meant it. The first time you danced in the kitchen when no one was watching. Or maybe the first time you wept in each other's arms and felt stronger, not weaker. These moments are just as important, perhaps more important, than the ones marked on calendars or remembered with photos. Marriage milestones are not just about endurance, but about evolution. You didn't stay the same, you grew. You stretched. You bent without breaking. You turned individual dreams into shared realities. That's not just something to celebrate. That is something to revere. The courage to keep showing up. There's a quiet kind of courage in marriage, a courage that doesn't always get applause. It's the courage of waking up next to the same person, day after day, and choosing them again. Not because life is easy. Not because passion doesn't ebb and flow. Not because the road is always smooth. But because you promised. There's something deeply sacred in that choice. In a world that often chases novelty, marriage is a radical act of commitment. It says, "I will stay. I will grow with you. I will stand beside you when we have nothing and when we have everything. I will hold your hand when we're strong and when we're barely holding on." That courage, to keep showing up, to keep trying, to keep hoping, to keep forgiving, is worth celebrating. Love that matures. There is a myth we're often sold, that the peak of love is found in the early days, in the first kiss, the honeymoon, the butterflies. But I would argue the greatest love is not the one that makes your heart race, but the one that makes your soul rest. The love that has weathered storms, survived disappointments, outlived expectations. Love that matures doesn't always come with fireworks. It comes with familiarity, trust, and a knowing glance across the room. It comes with shared routines and private jokes. It comes with knowing what the other needs, sometimes without words. This kind of love doesn't just happen. It is built, moment by moment, choice by choice. And as we celebrate milestones, we are really celebrating the building of this love. A love that is less about falling, and more about standing strong together. The small moments are the big moments. Let me tell you something surprising: the big milestones are made possible by the small ones. The silver anniversary doesn't happen without the Tuesday night where you stayed up talking instead of going to bed angry. The golden anniversary doesn't happen without 1,000 small apologies and even more acts of patience. The 30 years together don't arrive without those ordinary days when you still reached for each other, even when life was anything but romantic. The small moments are the glue. The meals shared, the quiet support, the texts that say, "Thinking of you." The hand on the back when words are too much. Never underestimate these. For when we look back on our lives, it won't be just the wedding day or the vacation or the 25th anniversary party that brings us to tears. It will be the way they held us when we were scared. The way they showed up when no one else did. Marriage is built in these small, sacred acts. And every milestone is a monument to their accumulation. The journey changes you, both of you. To celebrate milestones in marriage is also to acknowledge change. You are not the same people who stood at the altar, and that's a good thing. You've grown. You've failed and gotten back up. You've loved and hurt and loved again. You've learned how to speak each other's language, perhaps not fluently, but with effort and humility. You've become parents, or grandparents, or caretakers. You've seen careers rise and fall. You've buried dreams and birthed new ones. And through it all, you've changed, together. That is what makes the milestones matter. They aren't just markers of time, but indicators of transformation. Milestones are not the end, they are fuel. And yet, let us not become so focused on milestones that we treat them like finish lines. They are not the end. They are fuel for the journey ahead. Every celebration is a reminder that you are capable of more. That your love has carried you this far, and it can carry you further. Let each anniversary, each shared victory, each remembered hardship overcome, be a launching pad into deeper connection. Let them be a call to keep investing, keep learning, keep choosing each other. Because the beauty of marriage is not that it's perfect, it's that it's possible to keep growing within it. Celebrating doesn't mean pretending it was easy. Let's be honest, milestones are meaningful because the road wasn't always easy. There were days when you didn't feel seen. Days when resentment threatened to root itself in your heart. Days when the idea of giving up whispered in your ear. But you stayed. You did the work. You reached across the chasm again. That is worth more than gold. You see, celebrating marriage is not about pretending it was always easy. It's about honoring that you didn't quit. That you kept choosing love, even when it was messy and inconvenient and hard. That's the kind of celebration the world needs more of, not filtered perfection, but raw, resilient, real love. A message to young couples. To those earlier on in the journey, let these milestones you see in others be your encouragement, not your comparison. Don't measure your beginning against someone else's middle. Instead, let their milestones remind you what's possible. Let them inspire you to keep showing up. Ask the couples who've walked further what they've learned. Lean on their wisdom. Learn from their scars, their laughter, their grace. And know this, every great marriage you admire was built day by day, just like yours will be. A message to longtime couples. To those who have been together for decades, thank you. Thank you for showing us that love is more than a feeling, it is a practice, a discipline, a legacy. Your lives are stories that speak louder than any sermon, any book, any social media post. You've shown us that romance can live inside the ordinary, that beauty doesn't fade with age, it deepens. Keep telling your stories. Keep celebrating. The world needs your example now more than ever. Let us celebrate, together. So let us raise a glass, not just to the number of years, but to the quality of those years. To the messy, miraculous, imperfect, sacred journey of two becoming one, and staying one. To the compromises, the breakthroughs, the shared dreams, the daily routines, the children raised, the losses mourned, the laughter remembered. To the forgiveness extended and received. To the meals eaten in silence and the nights spent dancing in joy. To the hands still holding on. To the hearts still open. To the love that may not look like it did in the beginning, but has become something deeper, richer, and more enduring. Milestones matter, not because they prove perfection, but because they prove persistence. They remind us that something beautiful happens when two people choose, day after day, to walk through life side by side. So whatever milestone you're celebrating today, whether it's 1 year or 50, know that it is holy ground. You've earned it, you've lived it, and there are more to come. Because as long as you keep showing up, loving, learning, and forgiving, the journey is far from over. So let us not only celebrate today, let us live in such a way that we are always moving toward the next milestone, together. Thank you.